All right, let's talk about something we all know is incredibly important, but honestly can feel a little heavy: your last will and testament. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be intimidating. We're going to break it all down piece by piece and figure it out together.
I mean, this is really the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? You work your whole life, you build something. So what happens to it all? Having a plan, having a will, is how you make sure that you're the one who gets to answer that question.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, the big why. Why you even need one. Then we'll decode the actual document. Turn that legalese into plain English. We'll talk about assigning the key roles, look at the important fine print, and finally cover how to make it all legal and official.
Okay, let's get right into it. A will is so much more than just a piece of paper. You have to think of it as your voice, making sure your wishes, your intentions are heard loud and clear long after you're gone. Just look at this breakdown. It is absolutely night and day. With a will, you are in complete control. You decide who gets your property. You choose the person you trust to manage everything. You provide for your kids. But without one, well, the state decides. Some generic, impersonal legal statute gets to make all of those deeply personal choices for you. And it doesn't know you, it doesn't know your family, and it sure doesn't know your wishes.
And this is exactly why pretty much every adult should have a will. It is the single best tool you have to direct your property where you want it to go, name your own team, save your loved ones a ton of hassle and expense, and most importantly, protect your kids. It's really the difference between a thoughtful plan and, well, potential chaos.
Okay, so you open up a will for the first time, and let's be honest, it can feel like you're trying to read a completely different language. But don't you worry, we are going to translate the most important stuff into words that actually make sense, starting right at the top. You're going to see this fancy-sounding phrase right at the beginning, but all it's really saying is, hey, it's me. I know what I'm doing. No one is forcing me. And, by the way, this document right here, this is my official will, and it cancels out any old ones I might have made. That's it. It just establishes who you are and what you're doing. Simple.
And boom, here's your first piece of key vocabulary, the testator. It's just the formal legal word for the person who is making the will. So, in this story, the testator, that's you.
Now, a will isn't just about your stuff. It's also very much about people. You've got to put together a team of people you trust to see your plan through.
Probably the most critical role is the personal representative. You might also hear them called an executor. The best way to think of this person, they're the project manager for your estate. They're the one you pick to go out, gather all your assets, pay off any final bills or debts, and then make absolutely sure everything gets to the right people exactly the way you laid it out.
And then, of course, you have the beneficiaries. Super straightforward. These are the people, or even organizations like charities, that you choose to receive your property. Your will is where you say who gets what.
All right, let's get into the stuff that a lot of people just skim right over, the clauses. This is the fine print, and trust me, this is where your will gets its real power and protection.
Whoa. Take a look at this. This is an example of what's called a no contest clause, and it has some serious teeth. What it's saying is basically, hey, if one of my beneficiaries decides to be difficult and challenges this will in court and they lose, they get nothing. It is an incredibly powerful way to discourage fights and make sure your wishes are respected.
And there are other powerful tools too. An omission clause lets you state very clearly that leaving someone out was on purpose, not an accident. Discretionary powers give your project manager, your personal representative, the flexibility to manage things. Waiving the bond, that can save your estate some serious cash on what's basically an insurance policy. And a governing law clause just says, hey, we're following this state's rulebook, which avoids a lot of confusion.
So you've written the will, you've picked your team, now what? How do you actually make this thing legally binding? Well, it all comes down to the signing ceremony, and you have to get the details right.
2. That's it. That's the magic number you have to remember. Using a state like Virginia as our guide, your will has to be signed by you, and it has to be in front of 2 competent witnesses. Then, they both have to sign it in front of you.
Okay, now let's clear something up, because this trips a lot of people up. Witnessing and notarizing are 2 totally different things. As you can see, the witnessing part is required. It has to happen for your will to be valid. The notarizing part, not strictly required, but it is highly recommended. Let's talk about why that is. So why bother getting it notarized? Here's the payoff. It lets you include a special page called a self-proving affidavit. This is just a sworn statement that you and your witnesses sign in front of a notary. And what it does is basically pre-approve the signatures for the court. That means down the road, the court doesn't have to waste time hunting down your witnesses to make sure everything was legit. It's a huge time saver and stress reducer for your family.
So before you even start writing a single word, here's a little homework. First, make a list of your assets, what you own. Then make a list of your liabilities, what you owe. Next, list out your people, your family, your beneficiaries, the person you think could be your executor. And finally, just think about your goals. What are you trying to achieve? Getting this stuff clear in your head first makes the whole process a million times smoother.
So there you have it. We've gone through the blueprint of a will, the why, the what, and the how. It's not just some dry legal document. It is a profoundly personal statement that is going to speak for you when you can't. So now that you know how it works, the only real question left is, what do you want your legacy to say?